Woody's coming straight in, boys.
Load up. Whole bunch of them come from behind us. Get 'em.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting.
Hello again and welcome to Ducks Unlimited Television. I'm Ashley Ward. This week we continue our adventure in Ontario, Canada. Fred Zink and Steve Todz are two of the top waterfowl hunters around today, and their friendship goes back many years. Watch as these two experts in the field work ducks and geese in close. There's even a dry field wood duck hunt that must be seen to be believed. All this and more next on DUTV.
This week on DUTV, we're with Steve Todz at Grey Bruce Outfitters in Walkerton, Ontario. So this area in Ontario is pretty special, especially for me. I met Steve, I would say, in the early 90s, like about 93 or 94, somewhere in there. And we've been lifelong friends, basically, for the last 20-some years. Cut them. So this is a pretty unique hunt here. Shot our limited geese this morning. We're hunting wood ducks in the field. And not many people have heard of it. To be honest with you, I've been all over the United States and Canada. And this is probably one of the only places that you can do that consistently. A couple hundred wood ducks coming in. So we're just using honkers, full body Canada goose, just for a pulling power, just to get the ducks to key in on this area of the field. And we have our full body mallards here. We got a couple Mojo spinners, A-frames back there, and got about 150 to 200 wood ducks are coming from the northeast here. So the key is get them basically to key in on this spot. We use the duck decoys and the motion of the spinners to get them to finish right in front of the blind. So the reason why wood duck hunting is so good here in Ontario, it's a big production area for wood ducks. A lot of it has to do with the natural creek bottoms, natural woody wetlands, but Ducks Unlimited also has some great marshes here in southern Ontario, like the Hallett Marsh, not very far from here, and they produce a tremendous amount of wood ducks. So number one, you gotta have the resource, which they do here. Number two, you can come over here, and this is what these wood ducks are eating. They're in the chaff of the combine. This is a winter wheat field, and they're coming in and simply walking as fast as they can through here, picking up the seed that the combine didn't pick up. So they move quick, but really cool. Just a neat experience and something that a majority of people will never get to see. Oh, here we go, right on the right.
Yeah, ducks in front.
Woody's coming straight in, boys.
Get them. Here, here. Back. nice Drake wood duck right there.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Blades, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited. Browning Firearms, the best there is. And by Ducks Unlimited's Ducks Expo at Texas Motor Speedway, celebrating everything outdoors.
So when you drive around here, you drive in the hills here, Ducks Unlimited has many projects across Ontario. And I know this from living in Ohio. We are considered the Mississippi Flyway in Ohio, but we are on the very eastern edge of it. A majority of our ducks that we shoot are raised in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ontario. We do get Manitoba and Saskatchewan birds when water is high up there and production is low in the United States. We'll have some mallards and pintails coming from there. But we shoot a lot of wood ducks and a lot of banded mallards and Canada geese right here for Providence of Ontario. Definitely woodies the way they're flying.
Oh yeah, here they come.
Get them. That was pretty cool. Beautiful, huh? Hen. The hens are brown, but they have so much iridescence, violet and green in them. Really good to eat too. One of my favorite ducks. That's how I got my start duck hunting right there, chasing them things around Willis Sloughs in southern Ohio.
And actually, the property that I own, I have wood duck boxes on there, and I monitor them, change the shavings every year. And it's kind of a kid thing. I go out with my kids and their friends, and we make a day of it. And you got to get kids into the outdoors at a young age. They tend to either love it or hate it. And when you get them, start them young like that, and the experience, I find the majority of the ones that my kids and other kids of their friends that have come over, they're always looking forward to that every year. When are we doing the wood duck boxes?
Here we go.
The Ducks Unlimited boxes that we have, and they're on a lot of the projects locally here, is the big thing is getting the kids out, showing them, educating them, and they're always asking questions on, well, what kinds of this? Well, we may come across a nest that's a saw-whet owl.
Get them.
And you're explaining to them why you know it's that, because there's sticks in there, and you can see their scat and stuff in the box, and show them a whole educational day, and they absorb it all in. It's all part of the experience.
Load up. Whole bunch of them come from behind us.
I'm excited as well to see what nested in there. Was it wood ducks or was it owls or whatever? So it's kind of a surprise every year to see what nested in the box every year.
Get them. Look at this one right here.
Beauty.
I think that's the prettiest duck there is. I mean, the colors and everything, beautiful.
So green.
Wood ducks are spread all across the south. There's a lot of wood ducks in places where mallards really don't go to. A lot of people hunt all year for that right there.
Very few conservation success stories can match that of the wood duck. The destruction of bottomland hardwood forests and commercial market hunting caused steep population declines in the early 20th century. In fact, wood ducks were closed to hunting nationwide in 1918 to give the population a chance for recovery. Today, wood duck populations are considered stable or even increasing in much of their range. Although clearing and drainage of hardwood bottom forests has continued, wood ducks adapted to secondary habitats like streams and marshes that had adequate nesting trees. The development of wood duck boxes was also a big step. providing convenient and predator-resistant nesting locations in habitats all around the country. Ducks Unlimited is actively involved in habitat projects all over North America that benefit the wood ducks. In the Mississippi Alluvial Valley, for example, an area that has tremendous hardwood forest loss, DU partners with a number of agencies to deliver restoration projects benefiting waterfowl and wildlife. To learn more about wood ducks and other waterfowl species, check us out at ducks.org.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com. DU TV is powered by Browning Ammunition, the best there is. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. And Plano Synergy and Zink Calls, a champion in every call.
Just getting set up this morning. We actually had to scramble last night. Some of the fields the geese have been going in, they didn't go in. A lot of times that happens on a rainy day. It's been raining for about, on and off for about 3 or 4 days. And geese will feed pretty much primarily all day long in a situation like that. And so they're not as aggressive in the afternoon or evening. So sometimes your evening scouts are going to be a little soft. Just kind of gotta go with your gut instinct. We happened to drive by this field last night on our way to our wood duck hunt, and the geese were still in this field. So hopefully they return. I'd say about 150, 175 in here, honkers. Got a good decoy rig set up in the, kind of set off the hill a little bit to get a little bit of a shadow on us. Put the decoys up on the hill. Canada's like to land up on top of a hill, typically from a safety standpoint, and then they feed down over the edge. So if you get to a field 2-3 hours after those geese have been in the field, a lot of times they'll be down on the bottom, but don't make that mistake and set up down there, because they typically will land up high and feed down there. Here they come. So through the years, Steve and I have become friends outside of just the hunting world. Him and his wife, Carrie, come down every year, hang out at my house. We have a lot in common, same age. I have children close to the same age. Get them. Through my past experience at work, we used to bring pro staff up here. We used to come up here and film a lot for the Whistling Wings series for Mossy Oak back in the day. And through the way, there are a lot of common friends that are still here today, like Mike Bard that we're hunting with today, and birds of a feather, as they say, always flock together. Ease down real slow. Right up front. Get him. Back. So on that little flock, it was 3 geese. We didn't hear them coming. We just happened to look up. The key there is you can't move real quick. You can't move fast. It's like a deer, turkey, or whatever. You move real slow. Ease down the blind, and we just started light calling them, let them swing downwind, and just pick up the tempo. But you don't want to just start wailing at them. They were kind of gliding in. If we'd have moved fast and started blowing our calls real quick, probably wouldn't have got them. I want to talk a little bit about early season duck calling and how to go about it, because it's much different than you will have later in the year when you get cold fronts and ducks are flocking. I think the most important part is understanding where they are as far as a cycle. And what I'm talking about is when you're early in the year, it doesn't matter if you're in the United States or you're in Canada, North Dakota, ducks are not flocking together. It's just small broods of ducks, mom and dad and the young of the year. And they're used to being in a marsh. They've been there all summer as a group, not necessarily as a flock, but as a family group. And so September, October, they start to come together, but they've not made that transition yet. So a duck call sometimes can almost be useless. But when you get some weather conditions like we had on this hunt, where the wind was blowing, it was raining. When I watched the night before, the ducks were not scattered everywhere. They were bundled up tight. so I knew calling could be very effective, but I used a whistle a lot during this hunt. A little bit of hen mallard call. And that worked very well to get the duck's attention, but what really worked is just using a whistle, doing teal calls, widgeon, and don't forget the old mallard drake dweeb. What's cool about this, if you got 3 or 4 people in the blind, everybody can sound like a different duck. And I would take 3 or 4 average callers or even beginner callers, as long as they have a combination of calls, over a champion caller, because he can only really sound like one duck at a time. Sounds like a bunch of ducks, but really it's only one because there's no sound over sound. So early in the year, make sure you have your whistle on your lantern. If you have young hunters, new hunters to the sport, a drake whistle for widgeon, pintails, teal, wood ducks, and mallards is extremely effective. And remember, when you're out there, always call them close.
Duck Talk with Fred Zink, powered by Plano Synergy and Zink Calls, a champion in every call. DUTV is brought to you by Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife. Higdon Outdoors, quality, customer service, innovation. That's Higdon. Biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Closed captioning for Ducks Unlimited Television is brought to you by Mossy Oak Bottomland, the official timber pattern of Ducks Unlimited.
You've seen it happen in a duck blind. You prick a duck, the duck's hit, but it goes down, hits the water, and immediately starts swimming away. Now your retriever is convinced where he splashed down is where the bird is. Your dog is going to have to learn to pick a runner. That means track the bird. So let me give you a couple of tips. First, start with a tennis ball and a shucket. We're going to take the shucket and scent that tennis ball with a roll-on scent. And we're going to basically create a trail. We're going to throw this down the trail, and that little boy here is going to try to make that pick right down that trail. Lost. He's got the line, he's working the line. He's got to work it out. We've got a nice moist day for good scent. Once we perfect our tennis ball roll, it's time to take it to the water and make it a little bit more realistic. We attach the check cord to a game bird. What we're going to do is lay down a scent line first by rubbing the duck on the ground a bit and give it a good scent start. Then the bird is drugged by the check cord through the brush and around the rammel, just where a duck wounded would likely run. Now we send the dog. We're just going to line him to the fall area and see if he'll make a track. Taz. Loss. The bird should be disconnected at the end of the line, so when he makes the find, he just picks it up and makes the retrieve. The wind is behind him, so he's turning around and picking up the scent more behind him. And here he comes back with a recovery. Very nice. Dead. Good boy. The retriever's job is game recovery. That is getting the bird back to the blind. He's going to be called on to pick runners, so you might as well prepare for it.
Duck Dog with Mike Stewart is presented by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs.
Cut him. Back. It's a 61-pound lab with a 15-pound goose probably. Good job, big boy. Good job. Hey, 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 hey. Max. This is a Southern Ontario Gold. That's what we come up here for. Giant Canada geese here. beautiful. What's so cool about this bird is that they're very plentiful all over the United States and Canada. Give a lot of opportunity for waterfowl hunters. It's fairly easy to get permission in a field like this. You don't need a boat. You don't need a lot of things. Just a simple ground blind or even a homemade blind and a few goose decoys. We got a lot of goose decoys, but you don't really need that many to be successful. But beautiful bird. This bird right here is what really started me in my waterfowling career per se. Fell in love with him when I was a teenager. Beautiful.
Old friends and waterfowling often go hand in hand. Relationships formed over years of hunting tend to last a lifetime. The camaraderie found in sunrises in the blind, hanging out around the campfire, and sharing tall tales. Watching children's eyes light up on first hunts. These are but a few of the joys of waterfowl hunting. We would like to thank Steve Todz and Gray Bruce Outfitters for hosting us this week. Friendships born in the sunrises and shared on hunts are a special part of waterfowling. We cherish these relationships at Ducks Unlimited, and we know you do as well. Thanks for watching, and please join us next time for more exciting action on DUTV.